Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Aprilya Juliyanti, with student ID number 25,411,179 from Management 25A class. On this occasion, I will present material from the Business Communication course on the topic of business ethics. As we know, conducting business activities requires not only the ability to generate profits, but also attitudes and behaviors that align with applicable moral values and norms. This is because every business activity always involves many parties, such as the company, employees, consumers, and the wider community. Therefore, in running a business, an individual must be able to act honestly, responsibly, and respect the interests of others. Business ethics serve as guidelines that govern how an individual or company should act in conducting business activities correctly and professionally. By implementing good business ethics, a company can not only build consumer trust but also maintain its reputation and create better working relationships with various parties. Furthermore, implementing business ethics can also help create a healthy, fair, and respectful business environment. Companies that uphold ethics are generally more trusted by the public and have a greater opportunity for long-term growth. Therefore, understanding business ethics is crucial, especially for us as future entrepreneurs. By understanding and applying ethics in every business activity, we can run our businesses not only for profit but also while adhering to moral values and social responsibility. Okay, to begin our discussion, we will move on to the first section, Understanding Business Ethics. Alright, now let us move on to the first part of the material, which is the definition of business ethics. In general, the word ethics comes from the Greek word, ethos, which means a place to live or a place to stay. In its plural form, ta ether, the word refers to habits, customs, or behaviors that are commonly practiced by individuals in their daily lives. When we relate this concept to the business world, business ethics can be defined as a set of guidelines or principles that help us distinguish between actions that are right and actions that are inappropriate when conducting business activities. In addition, business ethics also serves as a guide for company leaders and business actors when making decisions, especially when they face situations that involve complex moral issues. With the presence of business ethics, decisions are not only focused on gaining profit, but also consider moral values, social responsibility, and the impact on other parties. Ethics in business communication. Now that we understand the meaning of business ethics, the next topic we will discuss is ethics in business communication. In the business world, communication plays a very important role because almost all work activities involve interaction with other people. Therefore, communication must always pay attention to ethical values so that professional and healthy working relationships can be maintained. There are several important elements in business communication ethics. The first is civility or politeness. Civility means that we should respect others when communicating, whether through our words, attitudes, or body language. By being polite, communication becomes more comfortable and professional. The second element is polish, which refers to refinement or professionalism in communication. This relates to how we express our opinions using proper, clear, and understandable language. The third is business etiquette. Business etiquette refers to appropriate behavior in the workplace. For example, how we greet colleagues, how we dress in a professional environment, and how we interact with clients or business partners. Next is social intelligence. Social intelligence is the ability to understand other people's feelings, attitudes, and reactions in a social situation. With good social intelligence, a person can build harmonious and positive working relationships. The last element is soft skills. Soft skills are non-technical abilities such as communication skills, teamwork, leadership, and problem-solving abilities. These skills are very important because they support a person's success in both professional work and business environments. 5 important reasons to run an ethical business. Next, we will discuss 5 main reasons why a business should be conducted ethically. The first reason is that ethical businesses tend to be more profitable. When a company runs its business honestly and responsibly, customers will feel more confident in the company. This trust can increase customer loyalty and provide long-term benefits. The second reason is to protect the company's brand and reputation. In the business world, reputation is a very valuable asset. If a company is known for consistently applying ethical principles, the public will have a positive perception of the company. The third reason is to do the right thing. Running a business ethically means that a company does not only focus on profit, but also pays attention to moral values and social responsibility towards society. The fourth reason is to build customer trust and loyalty. Customers tend to remain loyal to companies that are honest, transparent, and responsible in running their businesses. And the fifth reason is to increase investor confidence. Investors are generally more interested in investing in companies that have good management systems, transparency, and a strong commitment to implementing business ethics. 3 approaches to understanding the context of ethics. The next material we will discuss is the 3 approaches to understanding the context of ethics. The first approach is descriptive ethics. This approach focuses on how people or organizations actually behave in real life. In other words, descriptive ethics tries to describe the facts about moral behavior that occur in society or in the business world. The second approach is normative ethics. This approach discusses how a person should act based on certain moral standards or principles. Normative ethics helps determine whether a business action can be considered right or wrong. The third approach is meta-ethics. Meta-ethics studies the deeper meaning of moral concepts themselves, such as the meaning of the words good, bad, right, and wrong. This approach tries to understand the underlying reasoning behind these moral values. Approaches to understanding ethics. After discussing several approaches to understanding ethics, we will now move on to professionalism and ethical principles in business communication. According to the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, there are 5 main approaches to understanding ethics. The first approach is the utilitarian approach. This approach evaluates an action based on the benefits it produces. A decision is considered ethical if it provides the greatest benefit for the greatest number of people. The second approach is the rights approach. This approach emphasizes that every individual has fundamental rights that must be respected. In the business world, companies must respect the rights of employees, consumers, and the community. The third approach is the justice approach. This approach focuses on fair treatment for all parties without discrimination. The fourth approach is the common good approach. This approach emphasizes that decisions made should benefit the common interests or the wider community. The last approach is the virtue approach. This approach focuses more on a person's moral character, such as honesty, responsibility, and integrity in making decisions. 6 dimensions of professionalism in business communication. Next, we will discuss the 6 dimensions of professionalism in business communication. These dimensions show how a person behaves professionally in the workplace. The first dimension is respect, which means showing mutual respect among supervisors, colleagues, and subordinates. The second dimension is appearance, which refers to neat and professional appearance, as it can create a positive impression in the workplace. The third dimension is tolerance, which is the ability to respect differences in opinions, cultures, and backgrounds of others. The fourth dimension is honesty and ethics, which means being honest and carrying out work in accordance with ethical values. The fifth dimension is trustworthiness and responsibility, which refers to being reliable and responsible in completing assigned tasks. The last dimension is perseverance and collegiality, which means having perseverance in work and the ability to collaborate with others to achieve common goals. Principles of ethics. Next, we will move on to the section on the principles of ethics. These principles are explained based on the opinion of Alvin A. Ahrens, who describes important ethical values that should be possessed by a professional. Responsibility. The first principle is responsibility. This means that every individual must be responsible for their work and for the decisions they make. Public interest. The next principle is public interest. A professional should consider the interests of the wider community, not only personal or company interests. Integrity. The next principle is integrity. Integrity means having honesty, consistency, and a commitment to moral values in carrying out one's work. Objectivity and independence. The next principle is objectivity and independence. This means that a person must be able to remain objective and independent when making decisions, without being influenced by personal interests. Maintain professional ethical standards. The next principle is maintain professional ethical standards, which means maintaining professional ethical standards when carrying out work. This is important so that the quality of work and public trust can be maintained. Coverage and nature of services. The last principle is coverage and nature of services. This principle explains that work must be carried out in accordance with competence, ability, and applicable professional standards. Business ethics. After discussing the principles of ethics, we now move on to the discussion of business ethics. Business ethics includes several important values that must be applied in carrying out business activities. The first value is reliability, which is the ability of a company to provide products or services that customers can rely on. The second is morality, which relates to moral values that serve as the foundation for conducting business properly. The next is responsibility, which refers to a company's responsibility for the impacts of the business activities it carries out. Then there is trust, which refers to the trust between the company and its customers as well as the community. Next is behavior, which refers to a person's conduct in running a business ethically. And the last is principle, which refers to the moral principles or guidelines used in making business decisions. Ethical practices in business. As the final part, we will discuss ethical practices in business. The implementation of ethics in business has several important objectives. The first is to restore public trust in marketing activities, especially if there have previously been unethical business practices. The second is to avoid an increase in government regulations. If companies already conduct their business ethically, the need for additional regulations can be reduced. The third is to regain support and trust from the public. And the last is to protect the image or reputation of the organization so that it remains positive in the eyes of the public. Finally, in conclusion, it can be stated that business ethics plays a very important role in conducting business activities in a professional and responsible manner. Business ethics not only helps business actors distinguish between right and wrong actions, but also serves as a guideline in communicating, making decisions, and building good relationships with employees, consumers, investors, and the community. By applying ethical principles such as honesty, responsibility, integrity, and mutual respect, companies can create a healthy business environment, maintain their reputation, and increase trust from various stakeholders. Therefore, as future business professionals, it is important for us to understand and apply ethics in every business activity, so that the businesses we run are not only oriented toward profit, but also provide benefits to the wider community. That concludes the presentation I can deliver today. I sincerely apologize if there were any shortcomings in the delivery or in the material presented. I hope that what I have shared can be beneficial and add to our knowledge. Thank you for your attention.